Today we will be sharing information about COVID-19, including its origins, symptoms and the way it affects the body, and some statistics on how it is affecting our world. Hopefully by the end of our speech you will know a little bit more about the global pandemic we are all living through and being affected by. So, where to start? First, I will share the origins of the virus with you. In order to do this, you should know a little bit more about the science behind the virus and that it is not as new as some think it is. There are 4 different categories of coronavirus. We will have the alpha coronavirus, beta coronavirus, gamma coronavirus, and delta coronavirus. Each of these affect different types of birds or mammals. The ones I would like to draw your attention to are going to be the alpha and beta coronaviruses. The reason for this is that these ones primarily affect mammals. From what is known about the virus, it can be confirmed that it had been transferred from a bat, which is a mammal. This doesn't technically mean that the bat had become ill, it just means that it had contracted the virus and had been acting as a host for the virus, therefore originating from either the alpha or beta coronavirus, and it has recently been discovered that all 3 cases of human coronaviruses are derived from beta coronavirus. But how did all of this happen? Since the virus only originally occurred in animals, it had to make a zoonotic disease transmission, meaning it evolved from an animal virus into a human virus. In order for this to happen, the virus must have been affecting large populations of bats and other mammals in order for it to assume new hosts. So, what does this mean? It means that the virus essentially was overpopulating and had an overflow which was transferred to an intermediate host, either being like a cat or a dog, then to humans. Since a virus can develop and multiply very quickly, if a human did get it in the beginning, their cells may have been able to defend themselves. But over time, with it multiplying very quickly, the virus may have mutated, allowing it to infect human cells easier. Another reason that it was able to transfer over into human virus is because, according to veterinarian Dr. Don Neefer, bats and other rodents have very similar genetics to humans, making it easier for COVID to transfer into a virus that would affect our cells. So, now that you know a little bit more on the science behind it, we can move on to the first known cases and how the virus made its way up to what we are dealing with now, known as COVID-19. So, travel back to late 2002, mid-2003. In the Guangdong province of China, a coronavirus known as the Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, also known as SARS-CoV, made its first appearance. Around 8,000 people were affected and 774 people died. After this, the last reported case of SARS was in 2004. So then we hop over to 2012 when the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, aka MERS, was identified. This outbreak also killed around 700 people. The last known case of MERS was actually here recently in early 2019. One of the main differences between SARS-CoV, MERS-CoV, and COVID-19 is that SARS and MERS had a higher mortality rate, peaking at 10%, while COVID-19 has a mortality rate ranging between 3 and 4% worldwide. Of course, COVID-19 is on a much larger scale, affecting many more people and resulting in many more deaths. And as of right now, there have been more than 4 million confirmed cases and almost 279,000 deaths worldwide. The first known case of COVID-19 was in Wuhan, China. And in the beginning, officials had reported it to be what they thought was an abnormal case of pneumonia. As officials worked to identify the unknown virus, they made connections between some of the people infected and a seafood market in the city. So, with that information, officials began to wonder, and how did COVID-19 find itself into a seafood market? That still remains a mystery to this day, but in each case it is thought that the virus came from bats, then went to an intermediate host or a household pet, and made its way to humans. But this time when the virus broke out, it began spreading like wildfire, unlike the cases in 2002, 2003, and 2012. So, with all 3 of these human coronaviruses having very similar symptoms, it leaves people wondering, why did it spread so much quicker this time? Well, there are a couple of reasons. One being that SARS and MERS usually presented themselves within 2 to 3 days of someone catching the virus, while COVID-19 can take up to 2 to 3 weeks to present symptoms. So within that 2 to 3 weeks, someone can be spreading the virus to many other people. Another reason is that if someone doesn't present symptoms, doesn't mean they don't have the virus, they could just be carriers. Not to mention that we still don't know how long someone can continue to carry the virus even after healing. But in the cases of SARS and MERS, people had also been able to be contained in sanitary facilities such as hospitals before the carrier could spread it to too many people. And since officials didn't know what the virus was in the beginning, people around the world continued to travel and it began spreading to many other countries. So, now that you know a little bit more about its origins, Tori will be sharing the symptoms of the virus and the way it affects the body.